If you follow this team every single week, you already know how wild the last stretch has been. Baltimore is sitting on top of the division, navigating one of the toughest, most unpredictable seasons we have seen in years. And suddenly the spotlight is right back on Lamar Jackson, not for the highlight plays, not for the jaw-dropping scrambles, but for something that has been hanging over this team like a cloud for weeks: the injuries. And after so much speculation, confusion, and guessing games, Lamar finally cracked the door open and let everybody take a little peek behind the curtain. He spoke with the media on Tuesday. And because the week is thrown completely off rhythm by a Thursday night matchup, the timing felt even stranger. Still, he came out, smiled a bit, and finally explained what happened with that toe issue everyone had been side-eyeing for days. According to him, the whole thing started back in the first quarter against New York, and he made it clear he's pushing through it. That alone confirmed what fans had been sensing just by watching him. Something hasn't been quite right, even if he refuses to use it as an excuse. This season has been a carousel of leg problems for Lamar. First the hamstring, then the knee, then the ankle, and now the toe. Week after week, the injury report reads like a rotating list of body parts. And every Sunday you can almost feel the stadium go silent every time he takes a hit and stays on the ground a second longer than usual. It's become this weekly moment where everybody holds their breath, thinking, please get up. Please get up. And when the offensive line has been as shaky as it has, that feeling only gets worse ever since that hit he took back in week 1. The one that practically echoed through the entire stadium. It feels like everything has been building on top of itself, and that's the part people need to understand. Lamar isn't just a standard quarterback. He moves differently. He cuts differently. He puts stress on his body that most players physically cannot duplicate. His game relies on explosiveness, sudden movement, the ability to shift directions in the blink of an eye. When even one of those things is compromised, it shows. And right now, all of them seem to be compromised at the exact same time. You watch him drop back and you can see the hesitation. You look at a running lane and think he's about to hit the gas, and instead he stays put. You watch him break the pocket and expect that gear he usually hits, where defenders look like they're running in mud, and suddenly he gets tracked down. This isn't the Lamar the league has come to fear. This is Lamar fighting against his own body. Every play, every drive, every game. And the tough part is that he still has the arm talent. He can still carve up a defense if he has time. But time has been the one thing Baltimore's offensive line has struggled to give him. The edges held up a bit better in the last outing, but the interior has been a roller coaster. You can see it in the film, a pressure here, a missed assignment there, and suddenly Lamar is being swallowed up before his receivers even get into their routes. It's hard to run an offense when 3 steps into the play your quarterback is already fighting for his life. The rotation idea floating around for the guard spot only adds to the chaos. Some teams rotate defensive linemen, sure, but rotating offensive linemen is one of those strange Baltimore traditions that never feels natural no matter how many times they try it. It works sometimes, and other times it leaves the line with no rhythm, no consistency, and no real identity. And with the amount of pressure already weighing on Lamar's shoulders, the last thing he needs is uncertainty in front of him. Yet somehow the Ravens are still winning. They are grinding out these games while patched together, limping through key stretches, relying heavily on a defense that has been carrying the weight, while the offense tries to figure itself out. And thank goodness for that defense, because without them, these games start looking very different. You can tell they know Lamar is hurting. You can tell they understand their role has shifted. They are the lifeline keeping this team afloat until the offense gets back on track. But the stats don't lie. Over the last few weeks, Lamar's numbers have dipped in ways we have never seen over such a long stretch. The accuracy, the yards, the efficiency, it has all taken a hit. And the only explanation that makes sense is that he's playing through more pain than he's letting on. You can see it in how he moves. You can see it in the throws that used to be easy for him. You can see it in the way he avoids running lanes that he usually attacks without thinking. And while Ravens fans hate hearing outside voices critique their quarterback, some analysts have pointed out the obvious truth. If the offense keeps sputtering like this, it will be a problem later. Not because Lamar isn't capable, not because the talent isn't there, but because in the postseason, your weaknesses don't get hidden behind big defensive performances. Your weaknesses get exposed, they get targeted, and if the line continues to struggle, If Lamar continues to get chipped and cracked and rolled up on, if these injuries keep piling up, getting through the AFC will feel impossible. At the same time, it feels unfair to put this all on him when everything around him is contributing to the struggle. Missed blocks, dropped passes, timing issues, miscommunications, pick any offensive problem, and the Ravens have dealt with it recently. It all stacks up, and it all lands at the feet of the quarterback. Even when he's battling through injury after injury just to be on the field, yet despite all that, there is still confidence that he can turn it around once he gets a little healthier. Once the timing comes back, once the offense settles down, veteran days off help, especially for players who carry as much responsibility as he does. Rest doesn't magically fix everything, but it gives his legs a chance to recover from all that explosive movement he relies on. And at this point in the season, sometimes one extra day is the difference between dragging yourself through a game and actually feeling like you can play the way you want to play. That becomes the real storyline moving forward, because everything the Ravens hope to accomplish depends on whether their franchise star can find his rhythm again before the season tips into its final stretch. And with the schedule tightening and the division matchups piling up, there is no easing into anything. Every game from this point forward comes with playoff-level tension. Every drive matters, every read, every hit, every yard takes on a new weight. And the reality is that Lamar is stepping into these moments dealing with more physical setbacks than he has ever had to carry at once. You can see how different the offense looks when he is forced to stay anchored to the pocket. It is not that he cannot throw, it is that the defense plays him differently. When they do not fear the sudden escape, the breathtaking sprint, the devastating cutback. When he is not consistently threatening with his legs, the entire chessboard changes. Defensive coordinators stop panicking. Safeties do not crash down as hard. Linebackers hesitate less. Edges stay disciplined instead of being frozen by the possibility of a broken play turning into a 50-yard highlight. Everything slows down for the defense and speeds up around Lamar, which is the exact opposite of how this offense is supposed to function. There were moments in the Jets game where you could almost feel the frustration radiating off him. Not anger, not disappointment, more like a player trying to convince his own body to cooperate. The crossers were developing, receivers were getting open downfield, and yet the pocket collapsed before he even got past his second read. On some snaps he had no chance to plant his foot. On others he was forced to throw off balance because a free rusher came screaming through untouched. These are plays Lamar usually turns into something magical. But when the legs are compromised and the hits keep stacking up, the margin for improvisation disappears. That is where the offensive line has to find itself. And fast. There have been glimpses of solid protection, but they never seem to string together a full game. A strong series here, then a breakdown that kills a drive. One quarter where they keep Lamar clean, followed by another where he spends the entire stretch dodging bodies and swallowing hits for a quarterback already dealing with multiple lower body issues. Every one of those hits feels like an unnecessary gamble. The rotation idea, as unconventional as it is, becomes even more confusing in that context. Working a rookie into the lineup normally requires patience and stability. Instead, the line is being shuffled on the fly in the middle of games, which only amplifies the inconsistency up front. Chemistry takes repetition. Footwork, leverage, hand placement, all of that comes from time spent next to the same teammate. Understanding how they react, how they adjust, how they communicate. When the parts keep shifting, the foundation gets shakier, and Lamar pays the price every single time the pocket caves in before a play has the chance to develop. What makes this stretch even more fascinating is that the Ravens are winning games. They normally do not win when the offense is this banged up. It speaks volumes about how dominant the defense has been. They have become the steadying force, the anchor holding everything together while the offense fights through turbulence. They make timely stops, generate pressure, and force turnovers at moments where the offense needs a rescue rope. If the Ravens were sitting at 500 during this stretch, the narrative around Lamar's injuries would be even louder and even harsher, but the defense has bought them time, week after week. Still, there is a limit to how long a team can rely on one side of the ball to carry the heaviest load. When the playoffs arrive, the margin shrinks. Offenses cannot sputter for long stretches and expect to survive against elite competition. Every flaw gets magnified, and right now, the offense's biggest flaws all connect back to the quarterback's health, the instability of the offensive line, and the complete lack of rhythm that comes from constantly adjusting to new limitations. You can tell the coaching staff understands this. The way they've managed Lamar during the week speaks volumes. Those early week rest days are designed to preserve whatever explosion he still has in his legs. It's not about saving his arm, it's about making sure he can function physically on short weeks, on cold nights, in games where he has to absorb contact and still create something out of nothing. Veteran players swear by these rest days for a reason. High-level athletes know exactly when their bodies are begging for recovery. And while Lamar is still young in football years, he has taken enough hits and shouldered enough responsibility to earn that same treatment. But even with those rest days, the question lingers. Can he truly get back to being himself this season? Not a slightly slower version, not a mostly healthy version. The version that forces defenses into panic mode before the snap. The version that can turn a broken play into a 50-yard jaw-dropper. The version that can look at a collapsing pocket and escape through the smallest crease without hesitation. That is the version Baltimore needs if they want more than just a division title, because at some point, the offense has to be the reason they win, not the unit they hope can simply survive long enough for the defense to close the deal. And the scary part is that nobody, not even Lamar, seems entirely certain how long it will take for him to feel like himself again. After the Jets game, he seemed calm, almost reassuring. But if you watch closely, you could sense he was choosing his words carefully. He made it clear he felt better in some areas, which is the first time he has even hinted at progress in weeks. That is encouraging, but it also tells us what we already knew. He has been battling multiple injuries simultaneously, and none of them have fully healed. Every week adds a new layer of wear, and every defender who gets a free shot adds another reminder that he is far from 100%. And this is where the offense needs to adapt, not just wait. They cannot simply call the same plays and hope Lamar magically regains full mobility. The approach has to shift. More quick game, more rhythm throws, more designs that protect him from pressure and prevent those big hits. That jolt has already worn down legs. You can still win with a quarterback who is limited physically. You just have to build the game plan around what he can do on that specific day, not what he could do 3 months ago. There were signs of that adjustment last week, but not nearly enough. Too many routes developing too slowly. Too many plays asking Lamar to hold the ball behind an interior line that has struggled all year. Too many moments where the offense looked caught between two identities. One built for a fully healthy quarterback, and one built for a quarterback pushing through pain on every drop back. They have to pick one lane and commit to it until Lamar's body gives him the green light to switch gears again. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support keeps us bringing you the latest news on the Baltimore Ravens. And hey, drop your take in the comments below. We want to hear from the flock. Joe Burrow may have just lit the fuse on one of the NFL's most simmering rivalries, and the whispers coming out of Cincinnati are getting louder by the hour. According to people close to the Bengals locker room, the quarterback has allegedly brushed off the Baltimore Ravens with a level of confidence that some inside the organization are calling borderline incendiary. No cameras caught it. No microphones were live. Yet the murmurs have spread fast enough to make even seasoned insiders raise an eyebrow. The rumor goes like this. During a closed-door meeting, Burrow reportedly made a remark suggesting the Ravens don't intimidate anyone anymore. A line that has ricocheted through league circles like a thrown gauntlet. Whether he meant it as casual bravado or a deliberate psychological jab remains impossible to confirm. What is certain is that Baltimore personnel have already gotten wind of it, and the tension between the two franchises, already fierce, seems to have shifted into something closer to open hostility. Players on both sides are said to be on edge. A Ravens veteran allegedly muttered to a reporter off the record that Burrow better be ready for what's coming, while a Bengals teammate reportedly shrugged it off with a grin, claiming the quarterback is just telling the truth. The truth, of course, is subjective, but perception is everything in a rivalry that thrives on ego, pride, and the unspoken belief that one team must break the will of the other. As these unverified snippets circulate, fans from both cities have seized on the story, turning message boards and talk shows into battlegrounds of their own. Some insist Burrow is simply embracing the swagger expected of a franchise leader. Others argue he may have poked a sleeping giant. No one outside those walls knows exactly what was said, but the atmosphere around this matchup is already electric thick with suspicion, bravado, and the kind of unresolved tension that tends to erupt the moment the first snap is taken. And if even half of these whispers are true, This showdown is shaping up to feel less like a game and more like a declaration of war. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with exclusive news on our Baltimore Ravens, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what the flock thinks. Drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.